Bloomberg Audio Studios. Podcasts, radio, news.
Let me tell you, we have a new star. A star is born, Elon.
Pumped up on Mars, juice, and ketamine.
He is the Thomas Edison plus of our age.
Probably his whole life is from a position of insecurity. I feel for the guy.
I would say 98% really appreciate what he does, but those 2% that are nasty, they are out there in full force.
We are meant for great things in the United States of America, and Elon reminds us of that.
I'm very disappointed in Elon. I've helped Elon a lot.
Welcome to Elon Inc., Bloomberg's weekly podcast about Elon Musk. It's Tuesday, September 9th. I'm your host, David Papadopoulos. Okay, so Elon, it appears, just may have himself a new Tesla package. I mean, a very, very big pay package. If all goes well, and you know, every home in America has an Optimus robot wiping baby bottoms and a driverless car or two parked in the driveway, and Tesla stock is worth many times more than it is today. Well, then the package could be worth $1 trillion. Max, that's trillion with a T, yeah? I'm reading this right?
I mean, if it's wiping the baby bottoms, though, that's a $1 trillion opportunity right there.
Okay, you know that guy. That's co-host Max Chafkin. Now, all the package needs is shareholder approval. The vote comes at the company's annual shareholder meeting on November 6th. We'll look ahead to that vote and break down the ins and the outs and the whys of the package the Tesla board is proposing. And also at that meeting, less dramatic perhaps, but also very important, shareholders will vote to determine if Tesla should start investing in Elon's AI company, XAI. We'll be joined a little later by Bloomberg tech reporter Kurt Wagner to discuss that potential Tesla XAI deal. But first, for Elon's payday, sitting here with me is that guy, Max. Hey, Max.
Hey, David.
And over in Oakland, Bloomberg's top Muscologist, Dana Hull. Dana, hello.
Hey.
Okay, so, but wait a minute. By the way, Max, congratulations. You have big book news today.
Yep, that's right, David, and listeners. The paperback of my book, The Contrarian, which is a biography of Peter Thiel, is out today as we're recording this, Tuesday, September 9th. I actually originally wrote it in 2021, but I updated it for the paperback. I wrote a new essay trying to kind of make sense of Elon and how he related to some of the stuff I wrote about back then. And I wrote a whole new essay about it. Basically, the argument in it, I'll keep it short and sweet, is that Peter Thiel's kind of activism and advocacy and the way he spent his money became kind of a model for Elon during the last election cycle. So hopefully there's something for people who listen to this podcast who haven't read it. I'd really appreciate if you checked it out and review it and so on.
So I already read it. Do I need to reread it?
Yeah, you do. From cover to cover.
Jeez. Okay. Then I shall. Excellent. Congratulations again, Max.
Thanks.
Very cool. All right. So, Dana, before we talk about this new or potentially new Musk pay package, let's just step back a little for a minute and talk about the old Musk pay package, the one that ran into trouble in Delaware court. What exactly is the status of that? Is it totally dead, mostly dead, what?
No, not at all. So the Delaware Chancery Court struck down the pay package. Tesla appealed the pay package to the Delaware Supreme Court. Oral arguments for that are in October. In the interim, Tesla has already awarded Musk like a third of that 2018 pay package as like a hedge, depending on which way Delaware goes. But then, in Elon's mind, he still hasn't been paid, and he would very much like to get paid, particularly if they want him to stick around. So this is it's like the go forward pay package. Like, forget about Delaware, forget about 2018. That's all up in the courts. How do we incentivize Elon to stick around for this new wave of growth, which he sees as all being about Optimus and robotics and AI?
But to Dana's point, Tesla very much still plans to give him that money, that old pay package.
What was that old one worth?
I mean, it was like $50 billion at the time.
Chump change, Max.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's fluctuated a bit because it reflects the stock price.
Understood.
So 50-ish billion, give or take, still significantly smaller, I think, if my math is right, than 1 trillion.
Yes. So, Dana, here's the thing. When he had that package, and as you always reminded us, and as Max is doing again so now, there was no truly set number on it because the value of the package, that old package, fluctuated with the value of the stock and some other things. But that package was deemed, if I'm remembering correctly, totally unprecedented and slightly inconceivable to us mere masses. So how do we go from a number that already seemed large to a number that seems inconceivable? Why did the board feel obligated to say, hey, Elon, here's up to potentially $1 trillion?
Because Elon threatened to quit. So here's the thing that you need to understand about Elon, and Max and I have talked about this a lot. Money alone does not motivate Elon. He is already the richest person in the world. What motivates him is really huge, swing for the fences goals that everyone thinks is crazy, and control. And what he wants is a bigger stake in Tesla. He wants 25%. So the new pay package is a series of 12 tranches, and it's like a video game. As you hit these milestones, you unlock a tranche. And the tranche is both market cap, which goes up in these, the first tranche, you have to hit $2 trillion. The second tranche is $2.5 trillion, all the way up to the over $8 trillion mark. But you also have to hit operational milestones that have to do with revenue and products like robotaxis, FSD, take rate, all this other kind of stuff. And with each tranche that Elon unlocks, presumably, shareholders win too, right? If the company goes from being worth $1 trillion to over $8 trillion, everybody wins. That is the premise of the pay package. And with each tranche, Elon gets more stock, which gives him more control. So conceivably, by the end of this, he'll be a trillionaire and he'll have a 25% stake in the company.
I would amend what Dana said just slightly, which is to say, I agree with her that Elon does not care about money, really, but he does care about really, really large amounts of money. And I think Dana's right. A big part of this, the money is part of it. And of course, he has big plans, right? He wants to colonize Mars. He can definitely find
he wants
use
robots wiping baby bottoms
for $1 trillion. But also, this is a way, I think, to take the focus away from Tesla's current issues. And I went back to look at the context of that 2018 award. Because you're right, David. At the time, there were headlines this is the biggest, this is more money than anyone could conceivably
exactly. We
pay
can barely
a
conceive
CEO.
of that. No.
And the headlines were very similar. But on the other hand, if he were to do this, it would be an amazing, unprecedented amount of growth. Now, what was happening in early 2018 when that award was made? Well, Tesla was basically in crisis. They were frantically struggling to produce Model 3 sedans. They were in what Elon, took to calling, quote unquote, production hell. This all kind of seems quaint, but at the time, it didn't seem totally clear that he was going to figure out a way to actually mass produce this car and do so profitably. And as Dana remembers well, there were short sellers who were convinced the company was going out of business. And this was kind of a way back then to say, okay, let's ignore the problems for a second and think about what the future could look like. And I think that's what's happening again. This is a way, in addition to incentivize Musk to keep him from quitting, to, from the point of view of a lot of Tesla investors, to sort of pay him what it's worth. It's a way to change the channel and to create some sort of defined goals. Elon loves talking about these kind of abstract, far-off goals, stuff like optimize wiping baby butts without a clear timeline for doing so. But now, look, we have a timeline, sort of.
Yeah, there is seemingly a somewhat fantastical quality to it all. And the changing the narrative thought is an interesting one, although I guess it's not super intuitive to me. And yet I look at the stock price, and the stock price, lo and behold, is grinding ever higher. Dana, is that, I know you don't follow every twist and turn of the stock price, but is some of that rebound in the stock predicated on the fact that it looks like the board has Elon signed on for the long haul?
I think so. That's always, they're sort of in this mutually assured chokehold, right? Where the board needs Elon threatens to quit, the board tries to appease him. He is the sort of singular person who's got the vision of the company. He's been the CEO since 2008. But another way to think about the pay packages is if the 2018 package was described as a moonshot that everyone thought was crazy, he did actually achieve all the milestones and then some. So now they're sort of re-upping the same conceit, although now it's like a Mars shot, and we're talking trillions, not billions. And Musk has always said that he thinks that there's a path for Tesla to be the most valuable company in the world. And if that's what it takes to motivate him, I think the board has made the deduction like, well, why not? Let's do whatever we can to motivate him, and we'll all win in the process. And I think that this will easily pass at the shareholder meeting on November 6th. And clearly there's going to be like a whole campaign to get people engaged with shareholders, particularly the retail fan base. And yeah, it's like unprecedented in corporate America, but Elon is an unprecedented figure.
I was going to ask you that. So you see it totally sailing through. Max, you as well? This is like a 99-1 vote?
Yeah. This is like Vladimir Putin's re-election. Yes, it's going to pass. This is a huge amount of money. And if you're mad about inequity in the world, there are lots of reasons to sort of think this is a bad idea. I mean, it is kind of funny that like Elon Musk has spent the last, year or so, just alienating his customers, like just totally taking essentially like a boring company flamethrower to his existing business. And the board is turning around, thanking him and going to write him like a gigantic check. But as Dana says, what they're doing is saying, hey, if you can back up these very bold statements that you've been making, yeah, sure, we'll pay you. There's one thing, did Dana mention that there's a succession planning part of this as well?
I don't know.
That
I didn't hear that.
The latter tranches
one of his kids
require him to come up with a succession plan and for the board to approve it. I think that also does kind of answer some of the concerns that you were seeing even from Tesla bulls around the time when Elon was kind of at his most erratic earlier this year.
My money's on X, if that's what he's grooming him at a young age. Just get him right there. Within 25 years, X will be running the show. All right, so Dana, it sails through on November 6th in the shareholder meeting. Is there potentially any other court obstacles to overcome on this one too, just like the prior one, or the fact that Tesla is now domiciled in Texas means that, and no longer domiciled in Delaware means, it's the court problems are a thing of the past.
Yeah, I think that now that they are, legally domiciled in Texas, it will be much harder to bring a lawsuit, in part because there's also, like, the shareholder that brought the lawsuit in Delaware was like a pocket plaintiff, right? Like it's, basically the way these things work is you have plaintiff's attorneys who like find a plaintiff to bring suit, and the plaintiff might own like 10 shares. It's going to be much harder to do that in Texas. You have to have a larger shareholder. So I just think that they moved to Texas for a reason, and they've got a very favorable court system there. The proxy also has some interesting language about how Musk has to, quote unquote, like wind down his political work within a reasonable time frame, but it doesn't exactly specify what that means. Like, does that mean he can no longer like fund, candidates and like elections? Does it mean that he has to stop like, riffing on politics on X? Like it's very ill-defined.
Yeah, I mean he's been doing a lot of politicking over the last couple of days even. So
I know.
So I don't know.
But is that just, can he politic abroad? Or is it just domestic politics or all politics? I mean, can you go on and on about UK politics as long as you don't mention US politics?
Wait, hey, Dana, just a question. The political thing, is that this proposal for political neutrality, or that's a different
No, it's separate.
Okay.
There's a shareholder resolution about political neutrality that the Tesla board is urging everyone to vote no on. But within the proxy itself, there's language about how they would like Musk to wind down his political activities in a reasonable fashion.
Dana, before we move on to Tesla and XAI, anything else we need to know about this package?
I just would really encourage all listeners of the show and investors to actually read the proxy. It's over 300 pages long. 3 board members are up for re-election. There are 16 resolutions. It's a big package. If you're an investor, you really need to read the proxy.
Max, it's funny. The other day, I think when we had talked about a similar Musk package, but if Elon's worth $1 trillion, come on, you can't tell me that I'm not worth $1 billion, that I'm not 1/1000th, right, as good as Elon. Give me $1 billion.
You've misplayed this negotiation. You got to start a political party, spend months fighting with the president. There's just a lot of stuff that you haven't done that
Okay.
Elon has done that
Fine.
might
Fine,
give you
fair.
a stronger hand.
Okay, so we're now joined by Bloomberg ace tech reporter Kurt Wagner. Kurt, hello. And Kurt, by the way, no hard feelings. I think the last time I introduced you, it got, I kind of got in your face. You're good with that? We're good? We're cool?
I'm sorry, who's talking to me? What's your name again, sir? Of course we're good. We're always good on this pod. Yeah,
Brilliant.
No, it's all good.
Welcome back, Kurt. So listen, we just talked about the pay package, which will be voted on at the shareholder meeting on November 6th. And then shareholders are also going to vote on whether Tesla should go ahead and invest in XAI. Tell us a little bit about what this investment would look like.
So XAI is Elon Musk's AI startup. It's been around for a little over 2 years now, and it's been raising money like crazy because the company is out buying all these expensive GPUs and data centers and trying to keep pace with the OpenAIs of the world, the Googles of the world on the AI race. And so Elon has been fundraising heavily. He has talked publicly on several occasions on his X account about the idea of Tesla becoming an investor in XAI. But, instead of just simply making that decision himself, he says, we are going to put this to a shareholder vote. And so that is what will happen in November, is that the shareholders will decide, should they essentially encourage the board to invest in XAI? Now, there's a few things I would point out, at least my interpretation of the proxy. The first is that they're not stipulating a dollar amount. They would leave that up to the board. Whatever the board deems appropriate would be sort of the decision here. But second, my understanding, if you go to page 176 of the proxy, I'm sure everybody has been scouring this thing. It seems that this is a recommendation. It is not a binding vote. So even if shareholders say, yes, we should invest in XAI, or even no, we should not, those are just recommendations from shareholders. My understanding is that the board can make this decision one way or the other on its own, regardless of the outcome of the vote.
So non-binding. In other words, right, indeed, even if shareholders, and this doesn't seem terribly likely, but shareholders say, no, we're not going for this, the board just says, hey, no, we're going to do it anyways?
That's my understanding. It says that it's a non-binding vote and that the board will continue to invest in AI based on its fiduciary responsibility. So in theory, even if shareholders say, please don't do this, but the board believes it's in the best interest of shareholders, my, again, reading of it is that they can kind of make the decision they want.
Right. So, Max, I ask you, sir, is this a bailout for XAI, an albatross going forward for Tesla, or a great opportunity? Because what's hotter in the world, my friend, than AI?
I mean, it could be either, right? And I think if you're looking at Tesla like a normal company, this would be insane. I mean, you have a CEO who is ostensibly working on AI, the hottest industry there is, who has a side project, started this other ostensibly maybe competing AI thing, kind of started poaching.
Competing with Tesla.
He's poaching employees.
Wait a minute, XAI is poaching from Tesla?
Well, their employees have gone from Tesla to XAI. I don't think Elon Musk would do something as ruthless as try to poach employees from one company to the other. But I'm just saying, like, from a normal perspective, like, this is crazy. It raises so many different issues. From an Elon Inc. perspective, I hate to say it, but it's totally normal. This is just like this is like Elon being Elon. He, in so many different ways, doesn't operate as if these companies are separate. I'm sure there were good reasons in his mind to create XAI as a separate entity. It allows it to raise money, on private markets, take advantage of this boom in venture capital. Like, you can probably compensate these AI engineers in ways that are helpful if especially if you're trying to recruit from some of the other privately held AI companies. So I don't know. I mean, it seems like this could turn into an albatross. At the time, I think in retrospect, Tesla's purchase of Solar City, which Elon Musk also co-founded.
Yeah, I was going to go there. So now that you've jumped the shark, remind us a little bit about the Tesla Solar City saga from years ago.
Well, right. So Elon Musk started this solar company, Solar City, that went public and then ran into a lot of issues. Basically, its main business, which was installing solar panels, became less and less profitable, and Tesla eventually bought it in what, at the time, to some critics, looked like a bailout. I think in retrospect, it does look that way because Tesla has not done as much with solar as I think some sort of solar fans, would have hoped. I think, we could look back at this that way. On the other hand, when the singularity comes and when we're all praying to our robot gods and
you're not already?
Yeah, not me, but I know that I understand that some are. But, maybe this will look like a smart move. If Tesla's in the AI business, Elon Musk is somewhat distracted, has this other AI company. I do get the argument that even if you're just a Tesla shareholder, being totally kind of rational about this, that you would just say it'd be better if these were one thing.
Dana Hall, what say you?
Well, this is where related party transactions get super interesting because you have to remember that xAI is a customer of Tesla. Tesla sells their megapacks, which are the batteries that power utilities, the big energy storage product that Tesla is banking on, to xAI. This data center in Memphis that xAI is building is now filled with megapacks. And so there's a lot of ways in which the companies are already overlapping with each other. Grok is now being integrated into Tesla's cars. So I guess I'm curious for Kurt, do you think that Tesla would buy xAI, or would which vehicle is more important to Elon going forward?
Before you answer that question, Kurt, I will say, so you have xAI buys X, right? Indeed, now does Tesla buy xAI, or one fish keeps eating the other? What's the next fish to get consumed here?
I think it really depends on the amount of money invested. We saw SpaceX, for example, already invest in xAI, and I believe it was a $2 billion investment. In the world of tech right now, and certainly in the world of AI, that's relatively small, right? This is not a massive, we are chaining ourselves to this company forever, and if they go down, we go down with them kind of situation. And so if that's what we see from Tesla is, hey, here's $2 billion, here's $5 billion. Other than the fact that it's a massive conflict of interest, I think we probably all agree this same person running two companies. I don't think it's that dramatic of an idea to say, hey, there's this up and coming AI startup. Let's pick our horse here. If they decide to go the opposite, and I think xAI is raising money somewhere around $200 billion or something like that. So if Tesla were to try to swallow this whale whole, that is where I think things become incredibly not only probably inappropriate if you're a Tesla shareholder, but become much more potentially damaging for Tesla too, because now all of a sudden you are in that situation where if xAI goes down, you're probably going to have a meaningful decline with it. And so until we know the investment amount, it's a little bit hard for me to say whether this is the worst idea or the best idea ever. We have heard Elon say he doesn't believe Tesla should buy xAI. Now, we all know that Elon saying one thing doesn't necessarily make it so, but as far as what he has said publicly, he sees this as an investment, not an acquisition. And I think until we know the dollar amount, we kind of have to reserve a little bit of judgment.
And he did a poll a while back where he floated the idea of, wasn't it $5 billion? But then
I think it was $5
billion figure. But then
and what were the poll results?
Oh.
It was like Vlad Putin again.
Putin-esque.
Well, you'd be shocked, David, to learn that the poll that Elon put out on X was in favor of such a thing. So I'm sure that's surprising.
Even at $2 billion or $5 billion or whatever.
Sure.
What's the argument for a Tesla shareholder that this is a good use of their cash? Because they could also invest in OpenAI or Anthropic or one of the other. I don't understand, except what's going to make our CEO happy, and he's gonna baby be happy. If a happy Elon is a happy Tesla,
want Tesla to go out and sink money into Sam Altman's company? Come on, he'll go around pouty face for months.
Two things. One, part of the investment, yes, could they invest $2 billion in OpenAI? I'm sure shareholders would, but the OpenAI is not going to take Elon and Tesla's money, right? So some of these avenues are closed to them. But the thing you just said, actually, in Elon Inc., in the world of Elon, is a real thing. Do you keep Elon happy? Do you keep him motivated? Do you keep him feeling like
that's the purpose of this
not
show?
Over here?
For Christ.
spending money on and time on his AI startup that does not benefit a Tesla shareholder. And so if you're sitting there saying, hey, I think XAI and everything Elon touches is going to go from 200 billion to $1 trillion, then you're a shareholder saying this is my chance to 5x my investment in XAI. So again, these are all hypothetical, but you have to, and I know you know this, Max, but if you are an Elon fan, an Elon stan, an investor, this is the way you think of it, is that you are building and buying into the world of Elon Musk, and that's what makes sense, I think, to a lot of people.
All right, Dana. So you told us the Musk pay package totally sails through on November 6th. So too then does this one. Whether it turns out to be exactly binding or not, this one gets thumbs up from shareholders as well.
I think so. I mean, Elon has signaled that he approves it. And we have to remember that Tesla has a very engaged shareholder base. Retail investors actually do vote their shares. You know, the board will be doing a lot of discussions with the big institutional investors, and I'm sure there'll be campaigns around these various items that will be before everyone.
I mean, if you do think about the challenges that some of these AI companies face, which is that, like, it's not clear that the returns from using large language models are awesome. You also wonder, like, how easy is it going to be for them to say, like, double sales from where they are now? Like, obviously, a lot of big companies are purchasing licenses for large language models. This is potentially a growth field. Like, if you buy into the idea that Elon's going to put start selling 1 million Optimi a year or whatever, like, this is definitely perhaps a more promising growth channel than, like, Grok's current, like, number one revenue stream, which is, I think, memes, basically.
Yeah. That's a big business.
Soon to be video games, though, and I think like an AI movie.
So for posterity here, here's my call, right? Indeed, XAI bought X. Tesla will at some point in the not so distant future buy XAI. SpaceX then buys Tesla. And then the last one, the U.S. government buys the whole thing, buys SpaceX for $50 trillion.
The Russian nesting doll of Elon Inc.
All right, listen, Kurt, stick with us for a second here because this is a little gift that we were handed in a story from Politico yesterday. I feel like we have are cage matches still a thing, Max? We haven't done a cage match in a long, long time. But you remember the Scott Bessent, Elon Musk
I do, yeah.
Screaming match where apparently there was even maybe a little freakish, there was a little altercation, a little roughhousing.
There were some reports of a shove, I believe.
Shove, maybe like a
physical altercation.
Right?
It depends on who you're listening to. I think Steve Bannon mentioned a physical, a physical presence. Elon is a big guy.
Yes,
I've never met.
As is Bessent. I think he's a pretty big guy too. And apparently at one point Bessent, the Treasury Secretary, this is back when Elon was in Washington 24/7, back in the winter and early spring, Bessent at one point had said to Musk as they were going nose to nose about some point or another, you. Now, at the time, we all thought and assumed it was just Musk. That, obviously Musk had just
brought it out of him.
I mean, I think The Atlantic wrote that, Musk brought it out of this mild-mannered billionaire. Turns out, we find out this week, Scott Bessent is no mild-mannered billionaire. He and Bill Pulte, right, of now rising fame, head of the Federal Housing Finance Agency and a prominent Trump loyalist, went toe-to-toe themselves just the other day with Bessent getting in Pulte's face and saying to him, why the are you talking to the president about me? You. He likes the word, I'm noticing here. You. I'm going to punch you in your face. So
the same phrase, basically.
Yeah. So kind of,
okay.
Yes, the same word at least.
Yeah.
So what I'm thinking is it's either the Bessent Musk one has to happen because Bessent still seems like he's got some of these anger, some of the animosity I feel like is still for Musk, so we get that, make that happen, or we go the three of them in a ring.
So, okay, I'm really glad you brought this up, David. This really brings up a lot of important questions. I think you're right that you could say, well, actually what we've learned is that Scott Bessent is just like a guy who likes to mix it up, who can get physical, and that reputation of being mild-mannered was like not true all along, and we just, we were lulled into that sense by he has a Southern accent. He's from South
picking
Carolina.
on Musk.
He seems like a whatever. But anyway, I think what it could be is that Bessent essentially was transformed by this experience with Musk. Now, recall that I'm joking mostly, but I do think you think about the conflict between the two men. It was not clear to me, or I think to anyone else, that Bessent prevails in that conflict. Remember, Elon is Trump's number one donor. He's like the certified best friend. He's in family photos. Like who is Scott Bessent exactly, right? He's a prominent hedge fund guy, but certainly not as high profile as Elon Musk.
No.
It would have been possible for Bessent to go toe-to-toe with Elon Musk and for this to end with Bessent in some kind of weird Oval Office exit with his own black eye, just like Elon had. But instead it ended with Elon, of course, exiting the Trump administration, essentially like tail...
So when you're telling me Bessent's emboldened.
He's figured out this could be a way to take on
emboldened Bessent. Musk emboldened. He turned Scott Bessent into a different man. Kurt Wagner, what say you?
Oh my gosh. I mean, I feel like the least qualified person to comment on this thing. But what I will say is that we have seen, in Bessent's defense, several instances here of Elon also sort of picking some fights with people. So I think we just have two rowdy boys over there who are trying to show their.
That's why I'm saying
this gets
cage match.
This gets pretty far removed from Elon, but I think this is an intelligent way to deal with a rival in the Trump administration, and that is what Scott Bessent learned in the Elon thing, because the way these feuds play out is in the media. The way you get media attention,
you tell someone
is by getting a big room of people to reporters and saying the F word, which I would never do.
I feel like Dana, this conversation's beneath Dana. She's written us off.
She's just over here like breaking news or answering emails.
Doing work, you guys.
Embarrassing ourselves.
Exactly. Someone's got to work around here. All right. Good stuff. Kurt, thank you for joining.
Thank you.
Dana, Max, brilliant as always.
Of course. Always.
Great to be with you, David, and Dana, and Kurt.
This episode was produced by Stacey Wong and edited by Anna Masarakis. Blake Maples handles engineering and Dave Purcell fact checks. The Elon Inc. theme is written and performed by Taka Yasusawa and Alex Sugiura. Our supervising producer is Magnus Henriksen. Sage Bauman is the head of Bloomberg Podcasts. A big thanks to our supporters Joel Weber and Brad Stone. I'm David Papadopoulos. If you have a minute, rate and review our show. It'll help other listeners find us. See you next week.